Tingles with Flyby. Hello my tinglings, it's Flyby. So I thought I would do a little bit of a ramble video today. The topic will mainly be cricket and also our journey so far. So I'm really loving 365 days of ASMR, and it seems like you guys are too. I'm getting so many comments and it's so great to hear from everybody. So keep commenting, I am loving hearing from you, and keep any requests coming in. Again, as I've said before, 365 days is a lot of days, so I have lots of room to fulfill requests. And if you've requested something and I responded to you, at least to let you know that I got your request, then I am still thinking about you, still working on your requests as well. There's just some of them I need to kind of arrange some things, so don't lose hope. We have 365 days. I will hopefully get to as many requests as I can. So, obviously, I am a big footy fan. If you've followed me for very long, then you know I am a mad Crows supporter since I first saw them in 2008. Been in love at first sight. Anyway, but during the summer, I am a cricket follower. So, Worcester, my son figure, because I'm his mother figure, so is he my son figure, don't know. Anyway, who lives with me, he played cricket growing up and played cricket a lot when we were first getting to know each other. And so, obviously, I wanted to take an interest in what was important to him, and that's kind of how I got into cricket, but now I just love cricket. So, I made a video way back that I was going to be making a quilt for this cricketer who died playing cricket, Philip Hughes. And so I thought I might do a little bit of a progress update, because I've finished, it's not like completely finished, but it's the first part that happens. I've finished one panel, so it's quite long. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get it all. Yeah, it's really long actually. So you can see a little cow there. So it's meant to be, I don't think I can get all the way to the other side. Oh good, you can see the end. So that is our first part. When the quilt's all done, I'll have to make a big shot, so you can see I do it with like it's through an applique method. So these are all kind of stuck down with an adhesive, kind of. It's a fabric adhesive, so very light, and then it's ironed on. And so then there'll be some detailing put on with thread, and I'm going to cover it with probably a silk tulle, because I want to be able to use it just like a normal quilt, but I want it to stay protected at the edges so it won't start to fray at the edges. So we'll cover that. So, because originally I was going to do it with a paper piecing method, which for those of you who don't quilt, which is probably most of you, that probably doesn't make any sense to you. But hold on, I'm just going to finish rolling this up. So paper piecing is a method of quilting where you have a piece like this, and then you have lines, and you sew all along. You basically just sew along the lines and then turn it over. Maybe I should make a video on how to paper piece, because it's actually kind of fun. That would be a fun video, wouldn't it? Okay, making my own request. Fly by, make this video. Okay, I'll do it. See? That's how it happens. I'm being silly, but anyway. So, I will make a video on how to paper piece, because that'll be fun. And it's a skill I have, so let's share our skills. I'm also thinking about this salad video, because I've done my how-to videos on the bread I like to make, and then my breakfast that I've been eating every day, which is so good, my overnight oats. But there's this salad that I kind of created that I really would like to share as well. It's also a stew, but it's not quite stew weather, so we might save that for most people's summer, which will be my winter. Usually do that one in the crock pot, but those ones take a little bit longer to record because I have to have so many different shots, and so it's kind of a little bit of a logistical ordeal. And especially because this microphone sounds really good, I think, in this area, but when I take it downstairs it gets all echoey because it picks up, well, it's just a lot bigger area than it is when I'm recording downstairs. So that's why when I do my map videos I'm still wearing my headset, is because it echoes too much. So I'm trying to boost the sound, so hopefully people can hear me. I know people have a real hard time hearing me from my headset because the sound is very quiet through there. But we'll just have to see what we can do. Anyway, I feel like well, it's a ramble video. This is what it's supposed to be about, right? Just me talking and talking and talking and talking and talking and talking and talking. I'm really in a silly mood. This is good. This is gold. It's gold. Everyone's gonna love it. Oh god, I'm going crazy. So, anyway. So, the next part that I'm working on is a little quilt of his face. So, not my face, of Phil Hughes's face. And I've basically done some tracing so far. It's a very long, intensive process making a quilt like this. The biggest quilt that I've made like this was just a face, my mom's face. So, definitely a bit more intensive than that, since that's 1/4 of it, and then this one took a little while. There's one part that's going to be really easy, which should be I'm doing a part that's a bat, because that was kind of when he died, it was kind of, it's something that went about, it was like a hashtag, put out your bats. So people just putting out their bats as a kind of memorial to him, and that, you know, we're affected by this sort of thing. So I'm going to do a image of a bat put out with a little cricket hat on top as well. So that band will be the easiest one. So I'll either do that third or save it for last. I haven't decided, because the other one is him playing a cricket shot, and that one's really big and also pretty intense, but it'll be fun. Anyway, so that I probably won't be anywhere close to finishing remotely in this year. It takes a long time. I mean, even just the piecing together like that. If I wasn't going to uni and working part-time and doing 365 days of ASMR, maybe, but probably not. But I'll probably aim to finish the top sometime when I'm going to be going over to the States, so that I can quilt it on my mom's machine. She has this big long arm, sit down, long arm quilting machine, which is so nice and so good. So that'll be my ambition, and it makes it so much easier to quilt than quilting with only like that much space. So you have to kind of shove everything through. But I've done it before. I'll probably do it again with some lap quilts, but my bigger quilts like that, I save. Not that I don't make lots of quilts. Well, I make, anyway. So, Cricut. So, I've always been interested in test cricket. So, that's what I first watched. The biggest rivalry in cricket is the Ashes. So the story behind the Ashes is, the Ashes is played between Australia and England. And so it was played for a while, and then but because it was an English game and Australians didn't really play it as much, or it was kind of new to them, then it was kind of always that the convicts always lost. And so then the first time that Australia beat England, then someone wrote an article in the newspaper saying something about how, like, basically England's cricket history had burned up and the Ashes would be memorialized. I don't know, something like that. But so that phrase talking about the Ashes is why it's called the Ashes. And they play for this tiny little urn, which is about that big. It's probably the smallest trophy in world sport. But so it's because it's supposed to be the little bales. So the basic idea of cricket, excuse anybody who already knows what cricket is about. I think most of my viewers probably don't, so it's addressed to you. Anybody else, you can feel free to point out the details I get wrong. So, I feel like I talked about cricket. Anyway, we're gonna go again. So the basic idea of cricket, also because probably other people didn't see that video. So the basic idea of cricket, do I have anything we can use? Probably not, let's just use my fingers. So you have 3 bales, so they're just sticks of wood that stick up out of the ground, and there's a little bit of space in between. And you get these, so that's your wicket, and then you have these bales that sit on top. They're just little pieces of wood, kind of round in the middle with little pointy bits out at the end, and they just kind of sit into the top of the wood. And so basically if the sticks get hit very much, then your bales are going to fall off. And so protecting your wicket is kind of the most important thing to do as a batsman. Better, we'll say, since let's be equal opportunity. So as a batter, you want to protect your stumps. That's your number one goal, is to protect your stumps. Because that's your first way to get dismissed, is to get, it's called being bowled. But being clean bowled is having your stumps knocked and your bales fall off. Or you can just have one fall off. If one falls off, you're out. So that's one mode of dismissal. Your other mode, you can also be adjudged leg before wicket. So if you're standing here in front of your wicket, you're supposed to hit, you're supposed to be protecting your bales with your bat. But so if the ball hits you and it doesn't hit your bat first, then you're judged to be out, because basically it's only your legs that are blocking it from hitting the wicket. So that's an important dismissal, is LBW, leg before wicket. You can also be caught, so if you hit it in the air and somebody catches it before it touches the ground, then that's a mode of dismissal. So that's a really important one. A lot of catches. can also get a run out. So you don't just have one set of stumps, you actually have two sets of stumps along the pitch. So the pitch is kind of probably like 2 meters wide by about 23 meters, something like that. Some amount of meters. Anyway, so you have these wickets. You have these stumps at either end, and you have a batsman or a batter at both ends. So you might have a bowler coming in from this side, and they're bowling to this batter, and then to make a run, so that's how you score. After you hit the ball, then both batters run, and when they cross, that counts as one run. So to run 2, you run up and then back, and that's 2. And you can get 3 or 4 is usually when you hit the rope. So that's hit like there's a little rope around the boundary of the ground. So if it rolls along the ground and gets to the rope, then that's 4 runs. If you hit it in the air and it goes over the rope, then that's 6. And so that's how you score your runs. If you are crossing, and so while you're outside of your little stump area, so your wickets are here and your batter is usually about right here. There's a little line right here, and back behind that is called your crease. So when you're running, you have to get back into your crease. If you're not in your crease, they can throw the ball at the stumps, and if your wicket, basically if the bails fly and you're not in your crease, then you're considered out. So that's another mode of dismissal, is getting called run out, going that way. And so that's pretty fun. It's a really interesting game. When you bowl the ball, so bowling the ball is when you are throwing it basically, but your elbow has to be straight, and so there's a big action. I can't really make it here because I have to bend my elbow, but you have to have a straight arm, so it kind of brings it around and then you throw it down, and it has to bounce, so basically if you throw it on the full, so without any bounce, and it's above waist height, that is an illegal delivery. And that, in different forms of the game, you get different things, but so that's illegal. But so most, like probably 95% of cricket deliveries all bounce because it's the best way, and you can get lots of deviation off of the bounce. So you might have a seam bowler, so you have your cricket ball, which has a seam where it's sewed together right around the middle, and so they aim to land it on the seam, so it'll kind of dart different directions off of the seam. Or you have swing bowlers who try to get it kind of like a curved ball in baseball to kind of curve through the air so that it'll land and then go kind of different directions. And you also have spin bowlers who will kind of face it up this way and spin it through the hand. So if your seam is like this direction, then they kind of go like this, and then the ball's like spinning. And so then that one will kind of land and can go or straight on. And so there's all these different types. So swing and seam bowlers tend to be quick bowlers, so they try to bowl as quickly as they can. The quickest one's bowling at like 100 miles an hour to about 140, 150 Ks. And then your spin bowlers, it's really better when you're a spinner to bowl as slow as you can. So, just really interesting. And there's 3 forms of the game. So, kind of the form that I first got into is Test cricket. So it's a 5-day game played with 6 hours each day, broken up into 2-hour sessions. And so there's 11 players on each team, And usually you have about 4 bowlers and then 6 batters, and then 1 wicket keeper, who is the person who stands behind the stumps. They are the only ones on the field who get to have a pair of gloves, and so they can catch the ball in the gloves, so they have a little bit more webbing. Their fingers, everybody else has to catch with their bare hands. Which is a pretty hard bowl, so that can be a bit difficult, a bit painful. So everybody has, so you have 11 players, and so to bowl a side out, because you need a batter at both ends at one time, you need to take 10 wickets in an innings to get everybody out. And so you can, basically, you try to play through in the 6 days, taking 20 wickets and being ahead on runs. So it kind of it alternates, so you either bat first or you bowl first, and then you switch, and then there are other ways. So usually you would go the same person who batted first in the first innings will bat first in the 3rd innings, but anyway, we usually go bat, bowl, bat, bowl. But still, it's a really interesting game because there's a lot of pressure, and wickets are so exciting because you can have these really great players coming out, and if you can get them early, it's really, really exciting because you know that you've kind of saved yourself from a lot of toil. But so I used to only really watch Test cricket because I thought, it's the purest form of the game. But then when Phil Hughes died, I guess it kind of opened me up to shorter forms of the game. So ODIs were introduced, I think, back in the 70s, which is a one-day international. So that's just 50 overs, which I haven't described what an over is. An over is where a bowler bowls 6 balls in a row. So you basically have one bowler coming from this side, they'll bowl 6 balls, and then the other bowler will come from this side and they'll bowl 6 balls. In Test cricket, you tend to go back and forth like that. In other forms, they might mix it around a little bit, so you might not just go back and forth, you might go this bowler, then a different bowler, that sort of thing. Kind of depends. But so, one-day internationals were introduced in the 70s, something like that. And so they're just played over one day, and there's 50 overs. One team bats for 50 overs. If you don't lose all your wickets, then you just get your score, and then the second team is just trying to chase it down and trying to get one more run than you. And then a T20 is the same, but it's 20 overs, so it takes about 3 hours instead. So when I first started watching cricket, I really only watched Test cricket much. But then after Phil Hughes died, because he had been out of the Test team for a little while, but he had been playing sometimes in the T20s, or when he played in the BBL, which is the Big Bash League, which is a domestic T20 comp. And so I felt like I had kind of, by having this strict definition or strict kind of code about what I watched, I felt like I had missed getting to see one of my favorite players. Like, well, I could have seen him play more if I would have watched one-day internationals or T20s. And so that year I really got into the Big Bash and started watching it a lot more because I really wanted to just see more cricket and be able to just really enjoy, I guess, the players that I really like. And I've really loved it because it's gotten me into see players like Chris Lynn, who is an amazing striker of the ball. Got to see an amazing game New Year's Eve last year watching Travis Head. Hit an amazing knock to win the game. That was crazy. And then Strikers won again New Year's Eve this year. The only win they've had this year. They have not a very good bowling attack this year, but Hedy's a good bowler though. He's usually known as a batsman, but anyway, his bowling's been good. So that was kind of what I wanted to talk about, was just a little bit about cricket, because I'm right in the heart of the Big Bash right now. So I'll probably end up uploading this after the Big Bash is over, but I'll still be watching some ODIs, and we're going to India soon for tests, so it should be exciting. Anyway, that's just a little bit about cricket. If you have any questions, I'm sure I have not explained things as well as I could have. Be sure to leave them in the comments down below, and I will either answer them in the comments or make another video answering all the questions. Thanks for watching my tinklings, and I will see you next time.